Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Brian and Carrie's podcast. We are super excited about tonight and our guests that are with us. We pray that you are blessed in a great way. We're so excited to have our really good friends, Jeff and Melinda Knight, pastors in
Yes, good to be here.
TRC, the Rock Church.
Let's go.
And we're super excited to have them tonight. And I've been friends for over 20 years with this couple and have walked through some awesome stuff in life and just seeing God do tremendous stuff with them. We're going to have some really good, awesome conversations tonight. And I believe that God is going to touch hearts and minister to people in a great way. So it's good to have you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. What a blessing.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank
You guys are some of our favorite people on the planet.
You are.
And we love your friendship, and we love all the years we've gotten to spend together. It's hard not to even get a little emotional when I think about all the different seasons of life that we've been through together.
It's so true.
You guys have been in our corner the whole time. So
Yeah.
appreciate you so much.
Yeah, we love you guys dearly. You're dear friends and been friends for many, many years and have been in ministry together for many years.
We have.
And doing ministry and pastoring for, over 2 decades together,
Yeah.
and just in this walk of faith, living for God and
Yeah.
helping as many people as we can. And what a blessing it's been, and we've learned a lot from you guys, and you've just been a great blessing in our lives, as well as lots of lives. You guys have pastored in Washington for many, many years, and we'll get into your story in a moment, but just the amount of lives that you guys have impacted has been huge. And so I just want to honor you guys for your commitment, your dedication, your love for God, your love for God's church. And when I look at pastors and pastor friends, I would really consider you guys like my best friend in ministry for sure. How you guys have been there for me, how you've been there for us and for our church and our leaders, has just been an awesome blessing, and so I'm just super grateful for you guys and very thankful. So.
Well, I think back to the time that we crossed paths when we were a few years before we met, when my mom had said, hey, you got to meet my son. She had met you, and you got to meet my son. We got to connect you guys because you guys are brothers. And we would not meet for a few years after that. And I look back on it, and Breakthrough Church, your and Carrie's leadership, the team that you've built, and the way that you've raised your children and your family, it says an incredible amount about the depth of who you are, about how the Lord impacted your life when he saved you. You have not forgotten from whence you came. You've not forgotten from where you started, and you're walking in the fullness of some of that. And so all glory to God for what he's done in Melinda and I's life. And you guys have been a big part of just loving us and treating us with such care. And we've laughed a lot together. And I think we kept each other sane through that 2020 ordeal.
Oh my gosh.
With our late night conference calls about the madness we were all dealing with. But you guys are the real deal. And it's just an honor to be in your life. And it's an honor to be a part of what God's doing with you guys.
Wow,
It
man,
is.
we're so
Love you.
grateful.
I just think about, the last minute, come to the rodeo with us.
Yeah.
Dinners and just the phone calls about, having kids and just caring for one another's kids and
Yeah.
how real you are. There is not another couple in ministry that I just adore as much as I adore you guys. Just you're real, you're raw, how sweet you are, how honorable and honoring you are, and how fiery, fiery. I guess maybe that's the wrong word. but
No, it's
fiery meaning passionate, justice, truth. You're going to stand for truth no matter what. And I appreciate that because, it's not just about ministry. It's 24/7 our
Right.
entire life. And that's what I see when I look at you guys.
wow.
It's broad. It's your entire life. And I know what I'm going to get on one side of your life is what I'm going to get on the other side of your life. And
Wow.
that's rare. And I love that. So I love standing with you. And I'm
Well,
excited to be here. I'm honored to be here.
and for the record, you just found out that you're going to be here. So we are so grateful.
I
We're
still
so,
love it.
and we're so grateful. Just your words mean so much. I think going back, like, let's go back to the beginning
Yeah.
of how we all met and our relationship. And because I don't so much that I want to share, but it's all like
Yeah.
in 20 years. How many years did we say? Was it?
I think this is 25 because I think we met in '01
Yeah.
Oh, right.
at Wendell's church.
Yes. Mhm.
Is where we met officially.
Yeah.
But I mean, we knew of each other before that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's really crazy. So go back to when your mom
Yeah.
met you at a business
Let's
meeting.
remind me of that because my mom had a word
Yeah.
for
It
you.
It was at a
Family of
at a
Eagles.
hotel, at a
Multi-level marketing.
Multi-level marketing meeting.
business meeting.
Can you believe?
Hold on, do you have any of that gold? Does anyone have any of that gold still?
I sold all that gold years ago.
Yeah.
I wish I had it still.
I know.
There's an ounce, baby. So yeah, crazy. So ended up going to this business meeting. I was about probably in my early 20s.
Like 22.
Yeah, early 20s.
Yeah, because I was 26
Oh, okay.
when that was
Yeah.
going on. Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
so at the end of it, this lady walks up to me, which was your mother, and she says, "Hey, can I pray for you? I have a word for you." And so I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I was a Christian, and she begins to give me this prophetic word of knowledge, which was amazing, riveting, and it was so accurate about my mother and my relationship with my mom and my relationship with my sister. And then she said, "In fact, you remind me of my son. You need to meet my son." And she said, "I even prayed you into the kingdom."
I prayed you into the kingdom.
And so, which was really crazy, that we put together years later that literally, when my mom was younger, she was in
This
the
is
penitentiary,
Purdy Penitentiary,
Purdy
correct?
Penitentiary.
and your mother was a
And
corrections
my
officer,
mom, well, she was a social worker.
social worker.
So she met with the ladies to help put together their plan, their get back,
exit strategy,
their exit,
back-
get back into
stuff like
community.
that.
Yeah.
And you were how old when your mom was in there? You were like 4.
Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah.
That's
And
why
I would have been like, I would have been like 9, 10, 11 right in there
Mhm.
when she was working
That
at the Purdy
is.
Correctional Facility as a social worker.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you said that she would pray over every one of those families. She's covering them in
would,
prayer. She
yeah.
was a woman of God.
And we're talking, this is before the churches started. This is before the Bible studies in the home. This is my mom just being a Christian,
Wow.
working her job as a social worker, loving the Lord. So that part was amazing.
Yeah, that was, I was a new Christian. And so I knew that God was speaking through this lady. I had never met her, never seen her, but I knew that God was speaking through her. And I'm just weeping like a baby. I'm like, sobbing. And I'm like, this is so powerful, this encounter with God. And so she told me, "You need to meet my son. You remind me of my son. In fact, you are one of my spiritual sons. I prayed you into the kingdom." And so they went looking for you, and you just left. And so it wasn't for a few years later that
Right.
I was actually at the city church.
We were at City Church and Pastor Jude came up to us and
And
he made a
said-
beeline
Yeah,
for
he
us.
said, "Hey, you remind me of my friend Jeff Knight.
That's
In
wild.
fact, you
Mhm.
need to meet Jeff Knight.
Oh my gosh.
I'll get you his contact." And I'm like,
No, he said, wait, he's around here. Oh, wait, he
He
just
left,
left.
yeah.
So we were like, wait, this is weird.
That's
This
twice.
is like
yeah. I
twice
think
that.
it was like at a Prosperity with a Purpose
Yeah.
conference.
It's insane. Yeah.
That. So again, a couple years later that happened. And then it wasn't for probably at least a year and a half that we were actually finally able to meet. But I remember I reached out to you when I finally got your contact and, told you the story, and you were like, "Man, this happens a lot. It's crazy."
Yeah, my mom.
My mom
Wow.
was just so used of God, like prophetically, to bless people all over the world. So I knew there was just a God setup. And so we eventually had a conversation, had dinner together at City Church with a bunch of pastors in a room and stuff. But
Mhm.
we were able to just talk and formed a friendship from then. And
Yeah.
that was 20 something years ago.
Yeah.
But it was a supernatural. It was one of those things that marked me for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
I knew that God was real. I knew that God had a plan for my life, and that I was going to serve God for the rest of my life. It's those things that mark you.
Yeah.
It is.
And
Yeah.
And I was literally changed by that in a big
That's so
way.
cool.
And so fast forwarding years later, Seven was little, like Seven's here. So maybe we'll get her to pop in here in a minute.
And
sh-
Seven is their daughter.
Seven's their daughter, their sweet daughter. And she was little. She was just like a baby. And you came and preached for us. I don't think you were here. You were at that service when you were driving the race car around in the middle of the street on 7th.
We did donuts in the street.
Yes.
15 North 7th.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
We still talk about, I actually just, I'll pop those pictures up. I'll try to, I just found them the other day, but we just knew, like, when we met you guys, we were like, they are in our lives for a reason. Like, we didn't realize how amazing, what amazing friends you would be to us, but we just knew. And we were brand new pastors at that point. We had just moved back to Yakima, and we had my parents like mentored us, but you need brothers and sisters and mentors and leaders, and you guys had been pastoring already for a little while at that point.
Yeah, I'd say lead pastoring for about 7 or 8 years when we first came to Breakthrough, and then youth pastoring the 6.5 years before that. So
That's wild. Yeah.
if you can learn anything when you're learning on the job,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we had some years under our belt, but I felt like we were discovering, all the time, and healing and all that stuff. And so coming and then hearing the story again, I can remember that day specifically, hearing the story again and getting a chance to share part of my story with your congregation. It was very it was a formation time in our journey. I mean, we were in our 30s, and our churches you guys were just getting off the ground.
Yeah.
We were off the ground for a minute. It was just very forming. And I feel like our friendship was just ordained of God based on how he was forming each of us according to his plan and purpose, but also he's aligning us together with people. Cause I receive in every season, I've received from Melinda, and I've received from both of you, different facets, different angles. There's aspects of your journey that I so respect, that I so just honor. And, I've shared some of those with you over the years, because although we were a little bit ahead of you, we never felt in time, man, you guys are giants in the kingdom. And we felt like we were learning from you, even at different stages. I even remember the time you were at the church and you were meeting in the evening, and the church was in the morning, or it was a 2-story octagon shaped building or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, these dudes are wild that they are sharing a building with this other church, but you guys were killing it then, just like you're killing it now. And if there's anything that at the core of Brian and Carrie Jennings is they literally push forward and trust the Lord forward, no matter the season, no matter if it's ideal or if there's a gale force wind in their face. They just are not the kind of people that give up, soften up. I think in that, I remember in that situation, I'm like, I know people that would just like fold their tent if they had to share a building with somebody, not Brian and Carrie. They're pushing forward. And then I look at what you're walking into today and I say, whoa, I mean, that is the element of who you guys are at the core that's so amazing. And just, gosh, it just keeps me coming back for more. I want to know how you keep fighting.
Well, you guys have taken a lot of those calls, those late night calls when we're like, hey, we've hit a dead end and we need someone to speak into our lives. There have been many of those calls and Brian will
For sure.
motion me in like, hey, I can tell when he's on the phone with Jeff, because
Her ears perk up.
I can
Put it
hear,
on
I'm like,
speakerphone.
I want to hear this, because I know there's like wisdom that's comes wisdom from you both, where you guys have helped us so much through the years. We've had questions that you're like, oh yeah, no, I have been there, and this is what this will look like if you do this, or you just like guide us in such a loving, like wise way. And so through and we can go on and on. I mean, I remember you guys had a service. It was like, I think it was called the Killing Cockroach Tour. Right? Was that what it was called? It was a
Tony Morgan, yeah.
yes, and he did a tour.
Yeah.
And so anything that you guys had, we really tried our best to like get
Yeah, I
over
remember. Yeah.
to be there because we knew you guys were bringing in, you had the money to actually bring in like the speakers that we could never afford. So we were like, whoever they're bringing in,
Hem of their garment.
and if we could just touch a hymn, just but a hymn.
That's funny.
And I remember that service. I had just we had just adopted Sari. She was a baby. We couldn't even get a sitter for her because we were in the process. We brought her along. She was crying, and it was such a. But also, you helped me through that season. But it was that service that I feel like that service just wrecked us, and it was just like a Saturday morning. I think it was just. But I remember them just saying, like, talking about the importance of crying out your congregation members and the importance of a pastor covering and all those things that we were just gleaning from. We were just so new at all of it. And that service marked us. Your conferences have marked us, your friendship. And yeah, we're just grateful. And then, we don't want to go too far ahead because there's so much we want to talk about at the beginning, but you go through like the 2020, what we all went through.
Yeah.
That was like a whole nother dimension to that goes from like sensei to like the mentor to like, we're all now like laying it all down at the table, and we were having conversations until early morning, like
Deep
real
ones.
deep
I don't
conversations.
know about you guys, but we called you many times to tell you another important relationship got off the bus with us. And man, that was a season of a lot of change. And the relational dynamics were so adjusting so quickly. And we were, golly, I don't wish that upon anybody. And yet, at the same time, it was those calls till late at night, laughing and talking.
For sure.
Yeah.
Talk through those things with trusted friends that weren't going to think you were just wacko at the end of it.
Right.
No matter you agreed or not.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
right.
like, just talk it out.
Yeah. 'Cause
So
people
I
don't
feel like
understand.
everything got
You guys understood.
galvanized, especially with the four of us. It got really galvanized during that time in a way that like there was no subject off limits. Like, like we're bearing it all to you guys. You're sharing, we're growing together. We're figuring out how to navigate it. And so it was fun. It's been amazing. It's been an unbelievable ride. And I would echo the same thing, Brian. Like you're one of my most trusted friends on the planet. And I have just a handful of guys that I can go to on any occasion, and I consider you right at the top of the list. And
That's awesome.
And you're the real deal like that. So it's fun being on here, helping you guys, just share the word, share the message, whatever we're talking about. But yeah, if anybody tuning in is thinking about like the dynamic of us at the end of our lives, you'll just remember that the Jennings and the Knights were really good friends.
Right.
And they had a lot of things in common because of the church. But we stayed together because we loved one another, not because we were pastors.
So good.
Yep. And not just loving each other when we're on the highest mountains. Like you said, we've been in the valleys, we've been in so many seasons. And that's why it's important too, for any pastors who are watching this or anyone in ministry, you have to have someone that you're doing life with. And even if we don't talk, time may pass, but the minute we all get together, we are just like, that's a true friend. We just pick up where we left off. We're dying laughing. We're encouraging one another. We never leave these conversations ever empty. We leave them so overflowing and full. And so, people need that. And I hope they see that, that the importance.
So just let's go back. So in regards to ministry, we've been in ministry for a long time, and you guys have too. And what did that look like for you guys as far as you were youth pastors for 6 years? And I want to kind of go back to your story with your mom and dad and how all of that took place, and you guys just taking over for them. What that looked like. I've heard your story many, many times, and every time it makes me emotional because it's so, it's so heart wrenching. But what did that,
Sure.
Yes, let's just talk about that.
Well, full disclosure, at the time that we're recording this, the 26th anniversary of the plane crash is this coming Saturday. And so it's just a few days from now.
Wow.
And then the 26th year of us being installed as the lead pastors is like next Tuesday night,
Wow.
if you can.
Oh my
brag on that.
gosh. Wow.
And so this week for us to tell this story and to have this conversation will probably be a little more thick
Mhm.
than it normally is, because this week is always a week of reflection. My dad's 80th birthday would be tomorrow,
Oh my
and their
gosh.
58th, what would have been their 58th wedding anniversary was yesterday. So it's right smack dab into, so you go back to it. Melinda and I didn't really, I didn't. I think Melinda always felt called of God since she was a young girl, but I didn't want to be in ministry.
Mm.
I went to college to I went to college to be a pilot, and then I tore my knee up and couldn't really finish the pilot training that I wanted to do because of my knee. And so I went into construction management and wanted to start a road construction company and work with concrete and be like the number one giver for my parents' ministry, because the one thing about Jolyn and I is they were the real deal, and they were the coolest parent. I'm one of the lucky ones that got to be raised by a real man that loved his wife and loved his woman with all of his heart, took care of his kids well, and really, I mean, I feel like I'm one of the blessed ones because of that, and so I wanted to support what they were doing. My life as a PK, you all know, you got PKs growing up in your house, and it's not always the prettiest picture for the PK. And I didn't want to really be in ministry because well, quite frankly, I thought church people were kind of mean. They were kind of hard on my mom and dad. And so,
That doesn't make you want to just join the
yeah. And,
pastoring team.
and so, but I would fall in love with Melinda. And
How old were you guys?
when we fell in love?
I was 13, but he
Were
had a
you?
girlfriend, and
Shoot.
so
Okay, wait, no, these are the stories. These are the story. We want to hear
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
when I first saw him, I loved him.
So you went to the church.
I went to the church.
Oh, okay.
I was like
Aw.
the church staff babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
All the conferences, I'm the one that babysat all the kids.
What?
His sister is 13 years younger than him, so I was the babysitter. I went to actually a youth conference called Youth Alive
Oh, yeah.
back in the day.
Yes.
Casey Treat,
Yes.
CFC.
I was in a message that they said, you don't need to date around. God has someone for you. That was when I was 13 years old. And from that moment on, I prayed every night for 4.5 years that God would bring me someone just like Jeff.
What?
And every night. And then finally, like a couple months before we started going out, I said, God, I just give him to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Was he your youth pastor at that time, or just like,
No.
or just a youth?
Oh my gosh, it's scandalous.
Wait, I did not mean that. I meant, were you like an? I meant, were you like an old, like you were like a little bit older? And you were
Yeah,
like,
so
I was a freshman. He was a senior.
I was a senior when she was a freshman.
okay.
And so I graduate from high school and I go, in church terms, I took a year off. I took a gap year between high school and college, thought I wanted to go be a landscaper. And then it started raining in November and the mud was up to my knees. And I thought, this is no way to spend the rest of my life
Yeah.
landscaping. And so I ended up enrolling at Central in Ellensburg and started college the next fall. And so I was, kind of quasi the youth leader guide, help the youth pastor with youth. I'd be like a guys leader, small group leader, stuff like that. I wasn't totally distant from the church, but I really wasn't that engaged either. I just helped when I was asked. I was just kind of living, and ended up going to college that following year, which would have been Melinda's junior year of high school now, because I took a gap year. And so it was my freshman year of college. And so, just kind of got caught up in the scene for a minute. College is pretty wild. You're not living in your house anymore. You have a lot of freedom. And it was a little crazy for a while. And I just had this night where I kind of just got to the end of my running. And I was kind of, in the words of NF, I was done running. And I got down on my knees at 3:41 a.m. in the morning, April 21st, 1989. And I surrendered fully to Jesus. I often say that I gave my heart to him when I was 8 with my mom when she came in and prayed with me on my bed, but he saved my life when I was 19.
Wow.
And one of my prayers is Lord, I am gonna just submit my life as far as relationships, girls, all of that. As I'm gonna submit it to you, and I pray that I don't have to be alone long. I mean, that was basically my prayer. And went home that weekend, went to church for the first time in months, and Melinda, my friend, she was my friend. Although we were, that far apart in grade, Melinda was really mature for her age, so she could, she was an athlete. I was an athlete. We had a lot of things in common. So when we hung out together, it was a very natural friendship. It wasn't like she was a little kid. She just was a conversation. And I saw her at church that Sunday, and I gotta say, it was, I don't know what it was. It was completely different. I was, as they would probably say, smitten. I was really taken by just, I don't know why. Like, I'd seen her many times, and I was pretty encapsulated.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you saw him come home from college and you were like, thank you, Lord. And he's looking in my direction in a different way. He's like,
Well, that was April, right?
Yeah.
In February, before that, he had come home and I was babysitting his sister. And he came home and he said, hey, you want to go out sometime? And I said, no. And I'm actually the only woman who's ever
Oh, stop it. Don't say that. That's not true. That's not true.
is that what
It's not true.
Okay, it's true. It's totally true. That was a trap.
is that
That
what
was
you said,
totally a
no?
trap right there. She just totally said a trap.
No,
No, yes, you were the.
So did you say no because you wanted to be the only woman who had ever?
no, I said no because I knew that he wasn't living the way that
Yeah, no.
I wanted.
That's pretty
my
spun
husband
out.
to live. And so even though he was the person that I had been praying for all this time, I knew that God was first and he wasn't living that way. But then fast forward to April and he had made these decisions for Christ. And so you just stopped this story. You normally say
I literally
putting you on blast.
right after church I said, "Hey, can you go to lunch with me?" I pulled up in my truck, the coolest truck, and I rolled my window down. I'm like, "Can you go to lunch with me?" She's like, "No, we're going to Canada on a ministry trip," and I'm like, "No, I mean just like really quick." And she's like, "I gotta go get on the bus. We're like leaving right now," and she leans in and she goes, "Hey, and I heard what happened to you, and I'm really excited for you."
Wow.
Like my conversion experience just on the Friday night, somebody had told her, and she goes, "I'm really excited for her," and she walks away, and I'm just like, "Oh heck no!" And I put the truck in reverse and I back it up, and I'm like, "Stop, stop, stop!" And she looks at me, and I go, "Just look at me for a second." And I don't know if it was how the hair was going across the cheekbone or what. I was just like, "Just let me look at you for a minute."
Stop.
And I just
Do you
looked at her.
remember this and right
And
clearly?
I just looked at her and I said,
what are you doing?
I looked at her and I just said, "Okay, I'll see you later." And I put the truck, I was a stick shift, I put it in first and I drove away. And I went home that evening before I went back to Ellensburg, and I grabbed my mom and dad and I said, "I had the wildest experience, not just this weekend, but today with Melinda." I mean, and my mom's like, "I've been telling you that you should date Melinda for a long time." And because my mom just thought Melinda was amazing. But you always say that she's too young for you. We were just friends. It just was never, ever like that. But on that day, so I decided to go on a fast because, I mean, how else are you going to sanctify and purify your life? And so it's finals week, and I go on a fast,
Lord.
water only fast for 5 days because I'm 19 and a little bit wild, and I'm like, if we're gonna do this, we're going all in. Water only. I'm barely getting to tests. I'm struggling. I'm having sugar withdrawals by Wednesday.
He can only think about Melinda. He's a mess.
I finished this final on Wednesday morning, and I'm like, I am driving to Monroe to see her. I drove across the mountains, pulled up to her. She was an all-state softball player. And, I pull up to her softball practice, and she comes running up with a couple of her girlfriends. She's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, I drove 2.5 hours just to look at you.
Stop.
And she goes, shut up. And I'm like, no, I drove 2.5 hours just to look at you. And she's
This is before any kind of social media, so you really did have to drive there to look at her.
Yeah, you really. And so, I ended up going up to her house. We were there for like 90. I was there in town for a total of 90 minutes. And then I was back home because I had a final the next morning. And it was completely like the Lord all the way. So I come back the next weekend. We happen to be having a water baptism service. And so I end up getting baptized kind of as a outward expression of what I experienced the previous Friday night. It really had nothing to do with Melinda. It had to do that I was going to serve Jesus the rest of my life, no matter what it meant. So then all my buddies in that are like, hey man, I don't know why, it was like a 3-day weekend for some reason. Everybody was off school. So it's Sunday night. We have the water baptism service. They're all like, let's go see this movie. And so we go to the Alderwood Cinemas in Linwood and we all go in and there's an empty seat next to Melinda. And so I sit down right next to her and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to not act like a goofy dork here. Because literally
You were so nervous.
I am fully,
Wow.
I'm fully inside like she's the one. It was just, I don't know if it was the Spirit of God. I don't know if it was like I just had
It was the Spirit.
dated a bunch of, hoodlums or something. I'm not really sure. But I don't know what to say to her. I'm sitting next to her and I don't know what to say
And
to her.
all eyes are on you guys at this movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What is like,
Sure.
Yeah. And so I lean over to her and I kid you not, this is what I said. Are you ready for this?
yes.
For all of you guys that are watching, this is not the best line. I literally say to her, have you been praying for somebody just like me?
I mean, it's a direct question.
Is that not the most arrogant
Right,
line you've
I
ever heard? Like, who am I? Like, but that's all that came out. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you just did this whole thing. Thank God the lights were out because we were in a movie theater. Yeah. I'm like, I'm toast. I just
Okay, but remember when I was 13, that very night,
Right.
I prayed every night for 4.5 years that God would bring me someone just like him. The
That-
exact words
So
that
when
he said.
So when he said it,
I mean,
it was like,
I don't lie. I
Yeah.
have to say yes.
Yes.
That's just like, yes.
and obviously I wouldn't
you
have that
guys,
context. I wouldn't have that context.
right.
No.
And
no.
so in that moment, she says yes. And I don't even know what we said after that. I just know that we watched, so I know what we watched a movie and then we got in the car, we drove home and we talked the whole way. But pretty much on that night, if it was, culturally acceptable, we probably would have gotten married. I knew
Wow.
that I knew that I knew that night
Mhm.
that she would be
Oh
with me
my
the rest of my life and
Gosh.
I would be with her. So that's kind of our love story and
Maybe we can put a picture in here. If you guys like after, let's
little wedding picture.
make a little mark right here. We
Come
can
on.
put in a picture. So how long was it after that you guys got married?
Year and 4 months? Year and
Okay.
4 months, year and 5
Right
months.
after I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's a junior when this happens.
Yeah.
We told my parents the next day.
Not amazing.
Not
We had a
no.
great time.
No.
Man, we were just excited. I wasn't,
Linda, you're so funny.
I mean, in a really crazy way, our daughter 7 is older than Melinda.
That's a
When Melinda told her parents,
okay. Don't get
That
any
we-
ideas. 7. So just saying, don't get any ideas.
no, it's totally
That's
crazy.
wild.
And
Wow.
it's crazy to think about. And as 7 grew up in our house, I thought a lot about Rod and Jeannie,
Mm.
and I thought a lot about the
Yeah.
position that we put them in because of our zeal.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I never considered,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot about that now. And so I've had an opportunity to pastor a lot of young men about how to take the journey with your future in-laws
Yeah.
instead of taking the journey without them.
We've learned this, right?
Sure, absolutely.
After
Yes.
you work with young people and you have kids, you realize like, oh, I cannot believe I did that to my parents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He didn't even ask my dad for his hand in marriage,
Why didn't-
for my hand in marriage.
I didn't know you were supposed to do that. I'm like,
Well, he's like, I didn't have a dad. I didn't know that.
And until the wedding day, literally. And my uncle comes to me and says, "Hey, you guys you're not going to be able to get married." And I was like, "What do you mean? Why?" And her dad told my uncle because he's never asked.
He's never asked.
Oh, wow.
At the wedding,
Oh my gosh.
and I had to literally go and pull him aside.
Oh my
Ask him
gosh.
The
on
wedding
day-
with a tux on.
On
I
the
married
day-
your daughter.
on the day, like minutes before, like an hour before.
What'd he
the
say?
wedding was good. He said, "Okay,
Ah,
I
love it.
will," and I do.
Wow.
But he gave me a stern talking to.
He
Yeah.
did. He
But,
still
you know,
he still talks about it.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't know. You don't realize.
Melinda's dad was incredibly gracious with me. I was pretty mavericky,
Mhm.
and I was going to do this,
No matter what.
and he was really gracious. I mean, I asked her to marry me on at homecoming, her senior year.
That's wait,
So put
that's
your
when you
brain
proposed.
around- Yeah, like I think back
That's
on how
sweet.
crazy that is today.
Right.
That's crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And yet I would stand by this one thing that the Lord met me that night.
Yeah.
And when I saw her,
Yeah.
like
Mm.
he rewarded me
Mm.
with the wife of my youth.
Mm.
I mean, we're just kids.
Mhm.
And yeah, we didn't do everything right as far as like, you know, the timing of everything and all that. Like we were speeding ahead, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah.
So you guys ended up in college together, married,
did.
right?
Well, that was the deal.
Yeah.
So we committed to our parents that if they would bless us getting married, we would finish college.
Wow. Hmm.
And so yeah. So we followed through with that commitment. And oh my gosh,
Wow.
best 4 years though. What a way to
so much
start.
fun. Yeah.
What a way to start we're living in married housing for $280 a
Oh
month
my
in rent.
gosh. Right.
Working, you know,
Burger King.
working at Burger King, and
Wow.
she's
Tanning salon.
That's
working at Pine
awesome.
in the sporting goods section, and
You did?
yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah. And then we started working on the cattle ranch
Yeah,
that
wow.
we actually live on part of it now.
That's
Really
wild.
driving back to do youth ministry.
So you were leading youth at that point?
So not until
helping.
Oh,
we were
okay.
helping at that point, and then right before our senior, the
Mhm.
summer between our junior and senior year,
Mhm.
my dad came to us and asked us to consider stepping into the ministry with him and
Mm.
mom.
Wow.
And I looked at him. I mean, I looked at him and I'm like, Dad, this is great. Are you kidding?
Mhm.
That I'm gonna be a senior next year. I mean, Melinda's graduating, I'm graduating, and I have a career path picked out.
Mhm.
I'm in AGC, which is this club. I'm getting job offers in the
Wow.
next year.
Wow.
Some of my buddies in the program that graduated the year before, they're doing very well for themselves. And it was a complete, like, just out of nowhere.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget it. He's building a fence
Mhm.
and he's like running a post hole to it. And I'm standing there and he's talking to me and he says, but I don't want you to do it because your mom and I are asking you to.
Mhm.
I want you to do it because God would speak to you.
Wow.
Because really, when Melinda and I started dating, my life spiritually and my disciplines of the
Mhm.
word, prayer, I mean, it went.
Mhm.
I knew that she was going to be my wife, and I wanted to marry her as soon as possible for the fringe benefits.
Mhm.
And and so
Again,
and
we're
so-
putting it all out
and
there in
so
the podcast.
I'm going to become the spiritual man, the man
Mhm.
of God that I need to be to lead my family.
Mhm.
If there was one thing my dad taught me, yeah, providing financially is good,
Mhm.
but providing a covering
Mhm.
that's under the hand of God, his umbrella of protection, provision. I saw my dad got saved when I was 7 years old in a jail. I saw two sides in my life, and I knew the difference was not who my father was. The
Mhm.
difference was who he was chasing after. You chase after the world and all it has to offer, and it will give you the best it can give you. You chase after the Lord and all he has to offer, he'll give you all of the world and all of him.
Wow.
And so that part was fully intact for me. But I was getting ready to go into my career. So it threw me. He says, don't do this because mom and I are asking you. Do this because God has called you. Because I'm going to say something to you. If you do this for any other reason, you'll be miserable. You have to do this because God calls you.
Right.
Because it will be the toughest life that you ever lead. But if you do anything but answer the call of God, you'll never be satisfied. So no matter how tough it is, if God has called you, that is the reason you say yes.
Wow.
Do anything, Jeff, with your life that you can besides ministry, unless all you can do is ministry. That's what he said to me.
Wow.
And then he went
Wow.
back. And I left there. And I went home and I started going to milepost 18 on the Yakima River because we were still in college. And I'd pull up with the truck and I'd put on the old Milo and Lefebvre CD and I'd open my Bible and I'd say, God, do you want me to? And for weeks, nothing, just silence, just me praying, Bible open, me reading. And then one day, Jeremiah 29:11 opened up. For I know the thoughts I think towards you, says the Lord. Thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you a future and hope. And like he was sitting in the passenger seat of my 79 Chevy Blazer, he said, I want you to proclaim this to a generation.
Wow.
And I knew that that was the call. And so I came home. We finished up and moved back to Snohomish that year to live with my parents. I think we lived in their house. July 9th, 1994, between our junior and senior year of college, we were installed as youth pastors. It was pretty crazy.
And were you were ready? Were you knew you were called? And
I just knew it from a young age.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I didn't feel ready.
Yeah.
At all. But I just knew. And so
yeah.
I figured God would work everything out.
How amazing too that you had been a part of their family's life for so long and the ministry. So you weren't having to like bring her along, but you were like, yeah, let's do it. So it was probably pretty exciting. Then you're pouring back into the church that really raised you. Yeah. Did you say you were 7 when your dad got saved? So, and you said you were 8 when you accepted Christ with your mom. Wow. That's pretty cool.
I went to a church service with them because I couldn't stay home alone for a while because sketchy situation at home. And in that church service, they did one of them end of the world, Jesus returning.
Oh my gosh, the movies are so scary.
It was the earth spinning like in a cartoon caricature. And then all of a sudden it was all on fire with bad computer generated graphics.
Yes.
And I came home that night absolutely terrified.
Me too.
And I laid in bed and my mom came in to tuck me in and I said, Mom, how do I know I'm not going to burn with the earth? That's literally what I said.
That is so scary.
And she said, oh, baby, just pray. And so she prayed the prayer of salvation with me. And, I see all these smart YouTubers these days saying, the prayer of salvation isn't in the Bible, blah, blah, blah. You know what? For this 8-year-old boy, when he saw a version of the times that he could not synthesize in his brain, the prayer of salvation was enough to release Jesus's peace.
I was 6.
So,
yeah.
And so, hence, we don't do a lot of end times teaching in the children's ministry at the Rock Church.
It was,
scare kids into the kingdom.
Time out really quickly. Why was that okay back in that day? It was in our children's ministry. The same, we would watch the movies and then they would tell us how horrible it would be if we were left behind. Why were you telling a 6-year-old that? That's terrifying.
I don't know.
Just pause.
Okay.
You have mascara.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Timestamp that?
Oh, we can leave it.
Look on the computer.
We can leave it in. We're fine. Is it better? Oh, I feel it. Okay. Am I just smearing it?
So we're on
No.
pause.
Okay. We can, I mean, we're fine if,
Get a drink. So we're on pause. So
is it
Perfect.
better?
Yeah,
Okay.
we need to-
Thanks. Thanks.
I mean, this is literally like people are sitting at the dinner table with us, almost.
Yeah.
Pretty
Take
close. I
off
mean, we
on
can
kick off on some
We
we can
conspiracy
kick
theories.
we can kick it off,
also
guys.
awkward knowing that you're doing it for an audience, but it's like you feel like you almost have to make it happen, and then afterwards, when it's filmed, you're like, oh no, that
Yeah, okay.
flows really
Like,
good.
let's take it into every conspiracy. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
So we were talking. We
Are we
ended
good?
right there with you talking about the end
Okay.
times and children's ministry.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah. So in time, children's ministry, you got saved. I got saved. That's
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
It changed my life. When I saw the guy who was shaving his face and you just see the razor, drop in the sink and it's just like shaking and then like the babies are gone. I ran to the altar. I literally ran to the altar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get it.
yeah, the piles of clothes.
Piles
like
of
on the
clothes.
sidewalk,
Yes.
like left behind. Yeah.
The song, I still have that song in
Yeah.
my head. Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's one way.
Yeah.
It
Some are one,
was effective for me.
some are won by love, some are won by fear, right?
Yeah. So, but
Wow.
Did you ever deal with that?
No, I never got to see any of those
I know.
videos.
Oh, let's have a movie night.
I know.
Yeah, we'll have a.
let's have a-
He didn't see him either.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we'll watch the movies.
Baptist
You want to know what's crazy?
They're not talking about the rapture.
You want to know what's crazy? Is my parents and Melinda's parents, we went to the same church without knowing it and got
What?
baptized, water baptized within months of each other.
What?
And
So
we
when your
didn't know
parents got saved, they went to that church. No
it.
way.
Melinda's parents went to that church. It was Bothell Baptist Church, and the pastor's name was Sam Friend, Pastor Friend.
Pastor Friend. How
Send it to Chris.
sweet.
Pastor.
Yes.
Pastor Friend was his name, and
Aw.
Steve Largent went to that church, and so it was the cool church.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
It's
yes.
gonna be cool.
Back in
And,
the day.
yeah,
Yes.
so- Yeah. Way back
Wow.
when.
So your parents got saved. You then all these years later, you make a decision. I'm going to do it. You're youth pastors now. This is 94, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh,
July
okay.
9th, 1994 was
Wow.
our first Sunday. They passed us a umbrella in service and said the
What?
covering of you. Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
Dang, wow.
It's crazy. The first week we had 75 kids. I
Wait.
preached the best message that I ever preached in my life because it was the first message I ever preached in my life. And the next week we had 9 kids.
Church growth right there.
It is. I was an amazing evangelist, a really, really good, effective youth pastor. And we literally had 9 kids for 2 years.
A solid 9.
A solid 9.
Almost 12
We
disciples.
put out an extra chair because we had a vision for growth. But we didn't have a room. We just meet in a parking stall.
Oh,
But
wow.
I'm telling you, those couple years
Mhm.
just really, you decide if you're going to stay in ministry when there's no
For sure.
like you thought
Mm-hmm.
you were going to have. And I think if that's anything that I would pass on to the young Gen Z who's
Mhm.
so passionate right now, is that don't give up because you only have 10, 12, 15
So good.
followers, or, in some cases, 1,000 followers.
So good.
Don't give up when it's
Mhm.
small, because what's forming in you, what it's
Mhm.
small, is what's necessary for what it's big.
So that statement, say it again.
Yeah, what's forming in you when it's small is necessary for when it grows or when it's larger, when it's bigger.
So these statements from Pastor Jeff Knight are the statements and the phrases that kept us going. It was, you would give us something like that and we would write it down and we would hold on to it. And it's one of those that I'm telling you, rewind that, you guys, and watch that if you need to watch that over and over, because it's those statements that just make you realize, like, I needed that. I'm encouraged, and that's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, so speeding it up, 2 years after that, we get invited to host. There's a big event in Washington D.C. It's like a Youth America type deal on the
Mhm.
mall. Going to have 100,000 kids.
Yes, remember
so we're going to
that.
be the Washington State directors of it. And I thought they got the wrong number, because I'm like, you're asking Melinda and I to be the Washington State coordinators of Washington for Jesus, and we have 9.
That's
kids.
wild.
I mean, at the time, Steve Murray's pastoring at CFC,
Yes.
and they have hundreds of.
Mhm.
Certainly, Steve Murray should be the Washington
Mhm.
State director, not us. And they're like, no, we really want you to do it. So they fly me out to Virginia Beach to be on the 700 Club to promote Washington for Jesus.
Wow.
And on the way there, I eat something and I get food poisoning. I miss the entire
Oh.
airing of the show.
No.
because I'm throwing up in the hotel. And finally, I make my way out about 4 o'clock at night, and I'm walking down the hall, and a man by the name of Ron Luce, who
Wow.
had spoke at our church when I was 17 in 1987, when him and Katie were traveling the country in their car doing youth rallies. He sees me and he goes, "You're Jeff Knight. I remember coming to your church." And he took me under his wing that day. Had an organization called Teen Mania that was incredible.
Yeah.
And he started teaching Melinda and I how to lead.
Wow.
I had a call, but I didn't know how to lead. I could make a party. I could do something really exciting for the kids, you know, a night out, a movie night, you know, like let's go. But I didn't know how to lead. I didn't know how to structure things. I didn't know how to talk to adults in a way that would engage them to help, you know. And I was mentored by Ron, and we ended up leading mission trips all over the world.
What an amazing time. Like, where did you guys go? Few places.
In Jamaica.
Wow.
Acapulco. Did a trip with none of our kids on it. We just signed up and ended up with, 23 kids from 16 different states.
Wow.
From the ghetto to the cornfield. And it was
how cool.
Absolutely the time of our life.
How cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it just really formed us to really have a heart for world missions, young people, but more than anything, you just at some point you gotta break it down. You gotta learn how to lead. Like the whole John Maxwell. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That has to do a lot too with like your formation of theology, disciplines, and everything. Like you can be the smartest, scholaristic Bible interpreter on the planet, but man, if you can't lead thirsty ducks to water, nobody's going to be there to hear the great revelation that God. And so I began to realize that while God is spiritually forming me, I need to submit myself to leaders that will help form my leadership. And I was blessed in such a way to meet Ron in my 20s, to where he helped shape some of that. And so we were full on. We were going full time and heavy into the missions with Team Mania. And then God told us to pull back in the summer of '99. And it didn't make sense because we were having a tremendous amount of success. Our youth ministry had grown from 9, a family of 4 joined. So we grew to 13.
That's wow.
That was amazing.
That's a big,
But by the fall of 1999 in Little Old Monroe, we were 220 kids a week.
Wow.
In a little 1,500 square foot, hundreds of kids getting saved.
Wow.
A little house behind the church.
Behind the church. I was trying to negotiate with my dad. Give me the main worship center. You guys go meet the youth house. I can go over well.
Like a lead balloon.
Yeah. And it was really odd. We had an internship with 8 interns serving full time.
Wow.
Our interns were the first internship in the country on the ground at the first, national level school shooting of Columbine. Our kids were ministering to the Columbine students within 24 hours of that shooting because we loaded them up in a van and sent them south. And, so tremendous fruit, tremendous things happening. But all of a sudden we were pulling back. Melinda was doing a lot more at the time in worship. And we started to record our first worship album. And that leads us to kind of the transition on January 31st of the year 2000, where, I'm playing some guitars on a Daryl Evans Trading My Sorrows track.
Wow.
And my buddy calls Rory, who was our assistant youth pastor at the time, because that's how successful the youth ministry was. It had its own budget that it could hire somebody to help me.
Wow.
And he goes, "I don't want to alarm you, but a plane has crashed returning from Puerto Vallarta." And most of the time when you hear news like that, you're like, okay, I don't know that you needed to call me for that. But the reason he did is because my mom and dad were returning from Puerto Vallarta that night. And so we come out of the studio, we turn on a little television, snowy black and white, or color picture, but snowy rabbit ears, you're adjusting. And it's Como 4, and it's the news anchor. There's a orange helicopter over a blue ocean, little diamonds coming off of the top of the waves with debris all around, and the rotors are whipping the water and it's spraying up. And the anchor says Flight 261 has gone into the Pacific Ocean. And I turned to Rachel, who was with us, who was one of our students that is now leading with us in the ministry, and we're all just killing it. And she had helped my dad with his travel arrangements, and I said, "Is that their flight number?" And she just, like in a millisecond, she just turned pale. And she said, "It is, Jeff."
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, that was 4:36 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, January 31st,
Oh my gosh.
2000. And that would significantly change our lives forever.
Mhm. And they were doing, they were on a missions trip. Is that correct? Or doing ministry there?
Yeah, so my mom, when I started taking students around the world, she had realized that while she had preached in a lot of countries, she had not ever done work in a lot of countries. And so we interviewed Pastor Saul Gonzalez from Perdoni Amistad Church in Puerto Vallarta. Her and Dad interviewed him on TBN, because we all used to host TBN on
Yes.
the West Side back in the day. That was the thing,
Yeah.
the one with the pink couches. And George and the whole crew down there. I mean, gosh, I'm so grateful for those years. I mean, but they had met Saul, and he had asked my mom to come and preach. And so when she got there, she said, "Take me to the place where no Americans will go," because it's Puerto Vallarta, like it's a world-class vacation spot. And they took her out to this dump, and while all these children were living and eating and working for 10 cents a day, and she said, "Oh my gosh!" And her the phrase she coined was, "As long as America stands, no child should eat out of live or eat or sleep in a garbage dump."
Wow.
And so that was her mission. So she was down there. She left a conference we were all at. She was down there coordinating. She was building cold water or hot water showers
Oh, wow.
and buying a water truck to take up, because that first trip there, she's at the pool and she discovers there's a pediatrician right next to her at the pool from Oklahoma. And she turns to the lady and says, "Will you go to the dump with me tomorrow and diagnose these children?"
Wow.
And this lady's like, "What?" Lady's on vacation. And she's like, "I need you. You're going with me. I got to go take care of my kids that I just met." And she went out there and she diagnosed them. And she said, if they could just have fresh water, it would change their lives. And like a daily shower. So my mom was down there making the plans to build a shower and to get a water truck and the cisterns at each of their homes to deliver them fresh water. And so and then Dad flew down to meet her for their 32nd wedding anniversary, and then his birthday. And so the final pictures I have on not a Polaroid, but a film camera that the Navy pulled out of the water from the plane crash is my dad on his birthday sailing in the harbor with my mom.
Oh my
It's the last picture of them together. And so, so that's what they were down there for. So they were just coming home.
So crazy.
Yeah.
So that was your mom's ministry.
It was, it was. I mean, there's so many people at the Rock Church got behind it, so it was kind of the church's ministry, but my mom was the catalyst behind it.
Wow.
And it was good for her, because my mom always had a really large vision, and Monroe was a small town. Sometimes when you have a large vision in a small town, you need some places to go to really run what's in your heart. And Puerto Vallarta was that for my mom.
Wow.
It was really a place where she could do big things that nobody would look sideways at.
And I've heard stories about your mom, from you guys, from Jenny, from different people who knew your mom, Bill, and when you met her, but just sounds like just larger than life, just a force to be reckoned with.
So your dad was at a revival meeting in California where she was preaching. She prophesied over Carrie's dad about Yakima and the move of God that was going to take place in Yakima, which he was the founding pastor of this church that we took over.
Wow.
And so she prophesied that even before she passed away. And I think that was at the Rambo's church.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. The revival. That's right.
Went there. And she called them out.
They were,
She called
they
them out
were.
to begin to prophesy
They were
over
super
them.
close with my
And
dad.
our church was in a revival. A lot of churches in the early 90s were
Yeah.
in a revival, during that time. And But isn't that cool?
That's crazy.
so. When that putting that
That's
into the mix
wild.
too, it's like only God can weave
Yeah.
things like that together.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
incredible the way that just life happens and God really brings things together. So, one thing too, I remember specifically watching like your parents before they passed away,
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
clip on TBN
Mhm.
of them talking about eternity and
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
to the sunset together.
I'm thinking it was, if I might remember, I haven't watched that tape in a long time, but I think it was December 19th. They were hosting TBN,
Yeah.
and they were interviewing a guy that he helped people design their end of life. So life insurance and will and testament and all of that. And it was one of the guests. And so they were previewing the man's name and then what he was going to be talking about. And my mom leans over to my dad and says, "Do you have a plan for me?" And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, like what we talk. He's like, "You want me to tell him that?"
He was embarrassed.
He was embarrassed. He did not want to be talking about that stuff. And that's Mom would do that. Mom would often walk.
Off limits.
Yeah. She would walk out to the edge of the board, or Dad would walk out part way and Mom would push him. And he goes, "You want me to tell him that?" And she goes, "Yeah. And she's like, and he goes, "We're going to buy a Harley and ride off into the sunset together." That was my dad's plan. And crazy as can be, and only I can say this because I synthesized it all like after the fact, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't very far from the truth. Like
No.
there was no plan for Mom and him to move on when they moved on. And my sister and I had to navigate that reality like within 48 hours after they died.
gosh,
It
right.
was wild. There is a plan for you, Melinda. Because I lived through that, I had a plan in my early 30s
Right.
of what would happen if something happened to me because, I race cars and try to live wild and do all those fun
Right.
stuff. So
Yeah, we saw you driving here. I was like, well, you can tell he's a
These
racer. I saw him drifting it.
obviously we had dinner before this, and they beat us here to the church.
Yeah.
Pastor Jeff was a race car.
I was having
NASCAR race driver.
So
we did talk about that. So
that is wild.
I don't know if it's a premonition.
Wow.
Prophetic. Another wild thing that happened that not a lot of people know is at the conference we were at, my dad was supposed to fly home to do Sunday church. My mom flew to Puerto Vallarta, and Melinda and I were there with our whole worship team. So we had a trailer full of audio and video and lighting gear that we were driving back. The conference was in Las Vegas. It was an International Cowboy Ministers Conference.
Oh,
of course, it's
cool.
going to be in Las Vegas.
Because your parents were cowboys. Okay.
So I was at a real crossroads in ministry. I was 29, youth ministry was blowing up, and I felt like I was like getting in Dad's way. And I had went and actually met with Wendell Smith and said, "I don't want to usurp my father's authority, but I don't know how to talk to him about some of the things that I need your wisdom." And Wendell just gave me the greatest advice. He said, "You are right by asking me." He says, "You got to lead with a culture of honor." Things that I take for granted today when people treat me, but it was all brand new to me back then.
Yeah.
And so I saw this opportunity of getting my dad in the truck for the drive home from Vegas. And so I said, "Hey, change spots with Melinda. Let Melinda fly home on your plane ticket and drive home with me. I want to hang out with you." And he said yes.
Wow.
And so we literally slept in the we had a living quarters horse trailer that had all the gear. We slept in the horse trailer together on that big pass when you're coming from California into Oregon. We were in the truck for 18 hours together, and the conversation was literally about his life, his role, my life, my role, places that he felt strong, I felt strong, places that he felt threatened by me, places that I felt threatened by him. And
what a gift.
it was, I literally had a playbook to execute the day that they died based on the notes I took from that car ride. I knew
Wow.
everything that he wanted to accomplish with the church.
Oh my
I knew
gosh.
I knew when he wanted to pastor tell.
Mhm.
I knew when he wanted to hand it off to me.
Mhm.
I knew, I told him that I only want to pastor for 10 years. You know, it's crazy to be going on
That's
year
hilarious.
26 right now. And he's like, you don't get to pick.
Right.
And I'm like, well, me and God have talked about it. I'm lead pastoring for 10 years and
Yeah.
I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
Plans.
Yeah. And, but he wanted to hand it off to me when I was 44.
Mm.
And, you know, so
Oh
we
my
would go 15 more years, but
gosh.
he was going to turn me into an executive pastor
Mhm.
/ youth pastor right away.
Mhm.
Because I was just doing a lot more leadership than just youth pastoring, and I was frustrating him.
Mhm.
And I could feel that. And I'm like, well, do we need to leave and go launch our own? And then the plan was somewhere between that drive and 44, I would launch a church in Ellensburg
Oh wow.
before I became the pastor of all of it.
Oh,
And so a lot of people
how
think, well, oh,
cool.
you just started up in Cleella. It's been the plan since a truck ride
That's
on
incredible.
January 16th of the year 2000 with my
Well, we
dad.
used to talk about it.
We used to talk about it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Kittitas County has always been on our heart.
I mean, that is incredible.
So yeah, so those two gifts,
Yeah.
it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty
Do you, and I don't know if this is too personal, we can cut this out, but I heard a story about your mom leading people to Christ.
Yeah.
Do you,
the rock
do
in
you
my
wanna-
shoe, I call it.
do you want to share that?
It's a rock in my shoe. That's what I call it.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it anymore. So very quickly, within days of the plane crash, I got a phone call from somebody close to the organization that leased Alaska Airlines their building for their corporate office. And I was told directly, so it would have been Alaska Airlines to this person to me. So I'm second generation of this story. I was told that my mother's voice was on the voice box, the voice recorder. And so 12 days later at the memorial, I stand and I share kind of from my heart what I believed my mom would be doing in the final moments of that flight. See, the part that a lot of people don't consider is that the plane, I don't remember the exact numbers anymore, but I think it was 1:30. It was in a dive, and then it leveled off for 9 minutes.
Wow.
So it was in a negative G dive, meaning anything not strapped down was on the ceiling,
Mhm.
including, and then it just leveled off to a normal flight again. And in that 9 minutes is the spot where, in my mind, I thought that's where it would happen.
Mhm.
She'd stand up and say something from her seat.
Mhm.
She would be completely terrified. My mom hated to fly.
Mhm.
I traveled the whole world with her, and she would lay hands on every plane that she got on. She was very afraid of flying.
Mhm.
And so I figured she'd be terrified enough, and she would think that this was it, and she'd go for it.
Mhm.
Like, she
More
was
so,
that bold.
when she was on the plane going to Puerto Vallarta,
Mhm.
they used to allow her to get on to the speaker, the
Mhm.
speaker,
intercom.
Yeah.
and ask people not to eat their meals. If they don't eat their meals, they're going to go to the children in the dump. And at one point,
Wow.
she would pray over the plane.
Oh my
So they allowed
gosh.
her to do that. That kind
Wow.
of gave us the yeah.
Yeah.
To this day, we
Wow.
still have flight attendants that are all retired now, but they knew my mom because of that.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Wow.
So, I'm a grieving son
Yeah.
speaking at the memorial of my parents.
Oh my gosh.
I've been on the national media has been parked out in front of our house for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
We've done more interviews than I can remember. We had to replace the carpet in my mom's parents' home because it was destroyed from the amount of television crews. And it's the day I'm going to honor my mom. And so I told this story, how I saw it in my mind,
Mhm.
that if my mom had the chance,
Mhm.
she would stand up and she would share the gospel.
Mhm.
And I connected it to that phone call that I had received, second generation information, that my mom's voice was on the recorder. That story went viral for 2000.
Mhm.
And viral back then was a forwarded email.
Mhm.
Somebody made an email of that, and it got forwarded
Mhm.
and forwarded and forwarded. So much so that Penn and Teller added it to their show.
Oh my gosh.
So much so that Snopes, when you would Google my name
Mhm.
3 and 4 years later, that's all that would come up.
Wow.
And I would
That's
lay my
wild.
head at night, in bed at night, and say, the whole world thinks I'm a fraud because of what Snopes has said and what Penn and Teller said. And I'm just a son that's trying to remember his mom.
Yeah.
But what they didn't know is that one day I received a phone call from a restricted number from Washington, D.C. And I happened to answer it. And the person said, "Is this Jeff Knight?" And I said, "It is." And they said, "Is this Jeff Knight, son of Joseph R. and Linda G. Knight, who perished on Alaska Flight 261? And I said, "It is." They told me who they were, and I, for just confidentiality reasons, and I don't want to create any drama, I'm not going to repeat it. They said, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "I met you at the plane just a little while." You know, they had salvaged a lot of stuff, and we saw the salvaged pieces, and I met this person there. And they said, "I will neither confirm nor deny that your mother's voice is on the voice recorder." And I said, "What did you just say?"
Mhm.
And he said, "I'm going to say it one more time. I will neither confirm nor deny that your mother's voice is on the voice recorder."
Mhm.
See, the transcripts had already been released,
Mhm.
and there was nothing there
Mhm.
except for this one line. The flight attendant said, "But that woman back there."
Mm.
That is in the publicly released transcripts. The raw data, though, there's only 4 people that hear the raw data, at least back then. I don't know the rest of them. And that is somebody from the pilots union, somebody from the NTSB, somebody from the FAA, and somebody from the airline. So there's only 4 people that hear the unedited version. Everything else is edited. And so with that phone call, I had the voice recorder. I had it saved in the National Archives.
Oh wow.
I did the legal process. It would take like an act of Congress to ever hear it. I don't ever expect to hear it. But in a way, it took what had become a rock in my shoe.
Yeah.
Just something that kind of just made me feel like, man, I just was trying to remember my mom in a positive light. And it gave me some peace that, you know, I guess we'll find out when we get to heaven.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe. Maybe, just maybe.
And you knew your mom. Like she was about leading everyone to Jesus. That was her. Man.
So that's kind of the story
Wow.
behind the story.
That's amazing. Gosh. So then you guys, you come back from that and now like, because you're raising then your sister
Yeah,
and
my
you're
sister was 16.
pastoring the church. Like, what does that all look like to someone you're grieving? Like the fact that you still went back to the call, or was it just like, you're like, this is my duty to pick this up for my parents, or this was the call that I said yes to?
So it's that night. And I've driven over to our house to get my, get ready stuff. And change of clothes because we moved into my mom and dad's house that night. And I didn't want to change my sister's address. And I was woken up. And I thought it was Melinda calling my name. And she was sound asleep. And I got up and I went over to the rocking chair that my mom prayed in her bedroom, and I sat down in it. And I just felt totally empty. I said audibly, Lord, I don't know how to do this. And I don't know how to live the rest of my life. They were so much more than my mom and dad. Like, they were there for, like, God moving in our life. Like, they were our pastors and our friends. And, yeah, I mean, in all, I worked for them. Melinda worked for them. Like, yeah, they showed up on our honeymoon. I mean, they were so much more than just like our biological parents. They were like, the four of us were together everywhere and all the time. And all we saw was a future that included us doing ministry and life together. And so it wasn't that night that I lost my parents. It was that I lost my life. Like, my life as I know it, every aspect was impacted. I mean, the church may not survive this. I mean, they were pillars. We may not survive this. I mean, yeah. And so I was just, I describe it as like an hourglass. And you know how you flip it over and the sand starts falling? I was sliding toward the Venturi, the small part, and there was no stopping me. And I was going to the bottom. And it was about 2:30 in the morning. And I felt like I just hit this bottom. And I just said, I cannot imagine the rest of my life without you, without them. And not like an audible voice, not like a presence in the room, nothing like that. I just heard the words, do you think you could get to breakfast without him? And that's all I heard. And I'm like, I felt like it was the Lord. And it was just so practical and simple and kind of corny, to be honest with you. I mean, I just answer, I'll get through breakfast. And that's how I got through it. Is I got through it like one meal at a time for a long time.
Yeah.
But the thing that did is it decided that Flight 261, if I do not rise up in this moment, it might take my life too. Like, I was confronted with the reality that everything that I knew, except obviously my marriage to Melinda and the fact that now we're mom and dad to my sister Jenny. Other than that, there is no certainty anywhere. So I'm either going to get weak and cower back and fall back into Flight 261 taking my life too, or I'm going to be the son that these two people raised me to be. And I don't even really know who that is. Yeah. But I'm going to rise up and I'm going to tell their story. And I'm going to make sure the whole world knows what they were doing. And if that's all I can give to the rest of what was, then I'm going to give that with all my heart right now. And if we get to the end of that and there's nothing left, I'll figure out what's next then. But right now, they had my whole heart for my whole life to tell their story, pastor their church, parent my sister, but parent their daughter, build their ranch, whatever it took. Like, it was all about what they had given me. And there was a grace in that. I would like to say that, everybody gets that grace, but I've pastored enough people to know that not everybody does. There was a grace for it from that night on. Didn't mean I didn't weep, didn't mean I didn't hurt, didn't mean I didn't experience some depression and some brokenness and all of that. But there was a grace to navigate, because it got wild. Oh my gosh, did it get wild. But there was a grace for it. Yeah.
I remember, Melinda, when we first met, this conversation, it just sticks out that we were in the green room at, I think, that conference at Pastor Wendell's church. And I wouldn't go right into a deep conversation. So I don't even know how this came about, because I would have never asked you about any of this, but it went straight there. And I just remember saying, what did you do? And you just said, I prayed. And I prayed some more, and I prayed some more. And that's pretty much, that was like our first conversation. And I just came out of that and I was like, oh Lord, like, you guys have been through hell, but it was the grace of God that carried you through. And I didn't know you, but I felt so much strength like coming from you. And it was really the presence of God, being in his presence is what strengthened you to do what he had called you to do. Like, that just blew my mind that you could have been a victim. You could have been bitter. You could have been angry. And you were like so full of his grace. Like you said, his
It's just a
grace just
I
oozed
can't
out of
explain.
you.
Yeah, you know, I think back. I there aren't very many words for it, and I say that I remember there were so many times, practically every night, I would take the walk from because his mom, her office was out in the barn, and she had a prayer room out there, and I've always had a prayer room in the house. She taught me about that, just to set aside just a place to pray, you know, and I every night I would go out to the barn and I would pray all night. And I would lay on my face. And I just remember that I didn't have the words to pray. And I read years later the scripture, you know, about Jesus and groaning and just about the Lord knows our words before they even come off our tongue, you know, and it's in those times when we don't know what to pray. We don't have to know what to pray. And it's in those times that the Lord ministered to me because I had so many people come up to me because his mom is so amazing, was so amazing and so fiery. And I was so shy. And, you know, I used to, in high school, take speech class and do things that I hated because I knew I needed to get over turning red and being embarrassed. And just all the things I used to push myself. And I didn't know I was preparing. The Lord was preparing me for this. But practically every day I had someone come up to me and say, gosh, you have such big shoes to fill.
Oh my gosh,
How are you doing this? How you know, just wonderful people, wonderful support around me. And I would just say, there's no way for me to fill those shoes. And I would just go out and pray. And it was in those times that I just received strength. And I just remember, you know, watching the moon so just bright as I'd walk out to the barn and I'd pray and I'd come back as the sun was coming up before everybody got up. And I would just do that every night. And I don't know how I had the energy or, you know, didn't really need the sleep. But I think it was during those times, you know, because I could have been like, well, what about my life? What about the dreams that we had together? And it was in those times I was like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is what I live for. It's whatever God puts in front of me. And he put that in me in those times, just being in his presence. He put in everything that I needed. I got when I was in his presence. God, I didn't have the wisdom.
Yeah.
I didn't have the vision. I didn't have the study for it. And he directed me. The Lord directed me every step because of my time with him.
Wow.
And
how old were you guys again?
I was 27.
27 and 29. Wow. So you're living now with them, taking care of Jenny and pastoring.
Yeah.
Pastoring alone?
Pastoring a grieving church.
A grieving church.
A grieving church.
That their pastors were much older than me.
Whom they adored.
Yeah, I mean, they're 20 years my senior. So
Them as, just as we adored them.
Yeah.
I asked the church to stay for 1 year. I said, just stay for 1 year. 1 year. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if we're going to make it through. I don't, but stay for 1 year. And immediately the phone started ringing, you know, for people to set appointments with Pastor Jeff. And
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was all excited about it until the first one.
Yeah.
They left. And every appointment set for the next 90 days was a family leaving.
Wow.
They didn't stay for a year. But a whole bunch of people did.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
literally cried my way through
Mhm.
most messages for
Mhm.
52 straight weeks. Still have all the cassette tapes.
Do you? Oh,
Yeah.
And the church grew.
wow.
People got saved.
Mhm.
The Lord showed up.
Wow. And, you guys have pastored for many, many years, and you guys have reached so many thousands and thousands of people
Thousands.
on the West Side
Mhm.
and really all around the world. But you've reached hundreds and thousands of people through NASCAR racing ministry
Yeah.
and being a race car
That was all
driver.
part of that season.
Yeah.
Ooh, so were you racing during that time? Oh, okay.
No, so what was happening is we wanted to say thank you to Snohomish County.
Mm.
And so we got billboards on Highway 522 just to say, the Rock Church, just to say, thank you, we love you,
We're still here.
we're still here.
Wow.
Because Snohomish County, Monroe, all those cities, they were so good to
So the
us.
county, your city, everyone came together
People
for that.
came
Oh,
together, loved
wow.
us well,
Wow.
loved us well.
That's incredible.
We have a storage unit, and in that storage unit, there are multiple gigantic boxes of thank you cards,
Oh my
or
gosh.
get well cards, condolence cards,
Wow.
from all over the world.
Oh,
We
wow.
never threw those away. We've passed a lot of
So
stuff on to other people,
Mhm.
but we held on to those heartfelt letters that were
Mhm.
written because they really mattered in that season.
Oh,
Complete strangers.
Mhm.
And so we just wanted to say, well, I had a buddy that I went to high school with that was racing cars, and he
Mhm.
saw the billboard and he called me up and said, what'd you think about putting the church on a race car? And I said, well, it's kind of different, but the track was in our
Mhm.
town, right?
Mhm.
Kind of like good old Yakima Speedway
Mhm.
used to be here. In
Yeah,
Lakers.
rest in peace, Speedway.
And so, uh, and so we did it, and that's how I ended up at the racetrack.
But we personally paid for it.
Yeah, the church.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So that
We put
was,
the church's name on it.
wow.
which then immediately told everybody that the church paid for it.
Right. That's
Right.
So yeah, so
But
that's
why I said
hundreds
That was
and
amazing.
hundreds and hundreds of people. with
Yeah.
faith in
well.
Jesus
I would say
Christ.
there was a moment in time, Easter 2009, where there was 12 Premier Division drivers at Easter service
Wow.
at one time. We all raced against each other that weekend or the weekend before.
Oh my
We all went to
gosh.
church with all of our
Like, babe,
families.
don't be too.
And
Don't make me mad.
Don't make me-
racing,
No.
I'd say this all the time. Dad taught me to race before he taught me to pray.
Oh,
But God called me to ministry before he released me to race.
wow.
And I know who I belong to. And so, man, being able to race,
Did your dad race?
he was a professional motocross racer.
Oh, he was
before got saved.
Okay.
So I grew up at a racetrack, learned my ABCs, how to count.
Oh my gosh.
Dirt bike at 6, raced my first race at 8.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, but I got to live the dream.
Mhm.
Still do now and then,
Mhm.
but I got to be a racer, and it connected me and my dad in a mighty way. That was
You were a
Important
great.
too, because he was so stressed
Mhm.
and he needed a release.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted him to.
I was in the hospital more than once with
Mm.
blood pressure through the roof, and
Mhm.
just because of the pressure that was on me for those couple of years. And so racing was
That's-
a way to literally decompress.
Wait, that's wild. So that shows how stressed you were. If racing was a way for you to decompress,
Yeah,
your stress,
yeah.
like that is wild. If you're saying it was a way to like decompress and you were driving how fast
Yeah.
around?
Well,
Wow.
what racing
He
is.
doesn't say anything about Amazon boxes now
Oh, you
because racing parts were just
Right.
Half of them are his.
Yeah, race parts
That-
used to show up long before Amazon was a thing. So, yeah, I mean, it really does. The reason it decompresses me is it
Mhm.
requires all of me,
Mhm.
and that's the part
Yeah.
that is hard to understand about racing unless you've actually been in that moment.
Mhm.
Is that if you think about anything else, you are on the
Mm.
edge of wreck
Wow.
all the time.
Okay.
And if you are not totally focused to every sense of what's
Mhm.
going on in your mind, your body, what you're feeling,
Mhm.
like on nights where I'm thinking about church business while trying to turn fast laps, I'm the slowest car on the track.
Okay, that's
And,
awesome.
I can point to seasons and
Mhm.
races where work was more difficult than other years,
Mhm.
and the performance on the track shows it. Whether I crashed or
Mhm.
whether I just couldn't make the car go fast
Mhm.
or whatever, because to be good in a race car, it literally requires every aspect of your being. And so that's why it was decompressing, is because it completely removed me from the cares of this world.
You are a very good racer, Melinda. Bless your heart, because I don't know how you watch it. But I remember when,
Pray.
again, you're like, again,
Biggest fan.
first race we went to, I think 7 was like 3.
Yeah.
And that, I mean,
Fall Classic.
it
Yeah.
was, we just ate tons of candy and hung out.
This is amazing.
It was the coolest thing, but it was so cool to see. I mean, you were fearless, but to see all the people that were coming to Christ through that, we were like, and also that is something that I think overall, and we didn't see a lot of this then. Maybe this was all happening, but where people were getting involved in these sports or different things where they were then preaching the gospel in that way, and they were pastors. We had not really seen a lot of that. So I feel like you broke through that barrier. Anywhere around here, I think people were looking at you and like, oh, this is actually really powerful. You don't have to just stand behind a pulpit.
Yeah.
You take the gospel to the store, whatever you're interested in, and you preached a message that we will never forget, and we still quote to this day. And you were talking about this when you preached on North 7th Avenue, and the sermon was about being the spotter.
Cockpit, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you talked about when you minister, you get in someone's boat. You just sit down in their boat, whatever that looks like. It just changed how we perceive ministry to be. And so we started just training our leaders in that way. What are you interested in? What has God put a desire for you to do? Okay, then do it well. Like David, he was, did all of these things really well. He was a skilled fighter, musician, all of these things. So you were saying, like, don't do it halfway, do it well. But like, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Whatever God's called you to do it.
Yeah.
And bring other people to Christ. Sit in someone's boat and just sit with them. And those messages through your time of racing, especially during that time for us, just like rocked us as new pastors.
Yeah. We started to, that's like the late 2000s, and it was crazy the tables I'd end up at. I'd end up at a table with a former pro skateboarder who, when he answered the call to ministry, now pastoring, when he answered the call to ministry, when he got trained, his oversight said you can't skate and pastor at the same time. And we're sitting at dinner together and he's looking at me like, wait a minute, you drive race cars on a Saturday night and then you preach on Sunday? I'm like, yeah, I'm a racer and a pastor. And we just fostered this friendship over the years. And I just looked at him one day, I said, you need to go buy a skateboard, like get back on it. And he, to this day, is a worldwide ministry in skating.
Wow, that's so cool.
I got racing open doors to help people with incredible talents and gifts and perspectives. Racing for me has helped me open the doors for others to actually step into their reality. Athletes, professional sports players that are now preaching the gospel and reaching back into their former life. Sometimes we think like once we answer the call to ministry, we have to cleanse and polish every crisp corner of our life so that we don't like offend anybody. I've offended people with my racing. I've done things in racing I'm not super proud to tell the stories about. I'll tell them. I'm not embarrassed.
Tell us one. No, I'm joking. I'm
not embarrassed by them, but they do show a very human side of me that would probably get me disqualified in some circles of music. Just straight up.
I think
do you call
just because, when you get wrecked at 132 miles an hour and you pound the wall so hard that it rattles your brain and you want to get out and shove the steering wheel through somebody's teeth.
Your car was on fire. I remember that race. So yeah.
That was a real day too.
Yeah.
But when you get done wrong on the racetrack, Christianity sometimes I think wants to say to us, when we get done wrong, we have to literally just kind of let it run off like water off a duck's back, And yet we're human. Man, we're 98.6, 16 buckets of dirt, 1 bucket of water. Life is breathed into us. And so we're gonna at times experience things professionally, maybe in our hobby. I'm kind of broadening. That's gonna cause us to maybe have a natural reaction. And sometimes when you have the title pastor or the calling of God on your life, sometimes you're not given that margin to actually be human. And I actually decided in racing that I was never not going to be a pastor, but I was never not going to be a racer. In racing, if you go out there and you're meek and you just drive around trying to get any money, you're going to the back. Everybody else takes what they take. So I decided that I was going to be the kind of, I'm just going to take what I take, but I'm still a pastor. I had a crew chief, and he'd always say, when you put that helmet on, I need you to put that pastor shirt aside. And he just wanted me to go out there and pastor. And I'd tell him, I'd say, and he's not with us anymore, but I say, Steve, I'm always a pastor. I'm never not going to be a pastor. The pastor's going to own the times the race car driver crosses the line. But I minister to the race car driver in me just like I minister to you. So
Right. You were like the pit pastor,
yeah.
right?
And a lot
Pastor
of
in the
times-
pit. Really?
Always-
Yeah.
I've done weddings in the X of a figure eight before.
No way.
Yeah.
awesome.
I've done
Wow.
weddings at the racetrack. One time, this is before I'm driving, but my driver, we got asked to spread somebody's ashes that had passed away in our church that was helping on the crew. And so Roger's going down the backstretch on
Driving-
the freeway, and he's got true story, he's got a Marlboro cigarette package with some ashes of Steve, our crew guy, and he throws it out the window. Well, the cars have a vacuum in them. Sucks it back in the window, and he comes in and he's got like it all around his nose and mouth, and I'm like, he's like, I don't know what to do right now. It was just one of those moments where, where the humanity
Right.
of racing collides with the call of God to be spiritual and pastor, and like they just are not going to quite fit together.
Yeah.
But we're going to go do it anyway because God gets the glory in
Right.
all.
You're throwing the net out. You know, I want to ask, but you don't have to answer this question. I'm always so curious. How do they go to the bathroom? You know, when you watch like the Indy races, I'm like, how? But you don't have to answer if you don't want. But I'm very curious.
So-
I might have to-
Gets out of the car and says, "Babe, don't hug me."
Oh, okay. Okay.
I know.
I mean, because it's hours that you're in there and you have to be drinking to stay hydrated, I would think.
Yeah. So on a long
Yeah.
race, when you're in there for hours,
Mm-hmm.
you can lose like 8 to 10 pounds of water weight.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody understands like how physically demanding it is because I don't know if I should say this word, but you're literally clenched
hmm
every corner.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Every angle.
How fast are you going around the corners?
it depends on the track, but like you're going as fast as literally the physics will allow.
Oh my gosh.
So the only time you breathe normally or maybe relax and let go of the wheel is when you're going down the straightaway after you've come out near the wall. You get this moment to kind of be like, okay. But if you let go of the wheel, the car's it's taught to turn left. So you can't let go of the wheel, but you can relax on the wheel. And then, but as soon as that next corner's coming, you're thinking braking, throttle,
Oh my
steering
gosh.
input, you're feeling the tires, and your whole body from your neck muscles to your feet to you're just, and so it's like literally, it's like a stretching session
Oh.
or a plyometric session for 2 straight hours.
Yeah.
All you do is just, all you do is sweat.
So you're like, don't hug me, you know, in the
Yeah,
races.
if I say don't hug me, it means that we handled our
There's-
business. And
You do what you
I've
gotta do.
only Actually,
I was just
I've only
curious.
Actually, done that like 2 times, and let me tell you something. It's really hard to do, no matter how bad you have to.
Probably. I just
praying.
was wondering if they wear diapers, and I don't know if we can even say that on here, but that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
And some people do.
Okay.
I've never worn a diaper.
Okay. Like just to clarify.
He's not depending on
Not depending on it.
So-
other than Jesus help me.
Okay, so you're racing, and now let's talk about you.
Passions. You know,
You're
is an incredible worship leader.
yes,
Uh,
an anointed
woman,
yes, anointed worship leader,
cattle rancher,
a bee farmer,
rodeo champion.
a beekeeper.
A
Do not
Did
farm
you say
bees.
bee farmer? That's awesome. The bee farmer.
Every now and
You
then.
milk. Okay, I'm sorry. She's a beekeeper. You don't milk bees. I didn't know this. You guys are ranchers. First of all, let's say this, and we will put up their company. They have
Buy bee.
the most wonderful beef, and right now you want organic, homegrown beef. Now you're a beekeeper and a honey maker, which is we need this for allergies and for
Yes,
everything else.
true.
We need the honey. And also you do beef tallow, which is the natural Botox, which thank you, by the way, for
Right,
mine.
right.
I use it.
So
Do you
good.
use
I
it?
use it. Yes, I
Awesome.
do use it.
So do you
Looking at
have
the
she given you
pictures.
the magnesium stuff for your feet?
That says a lot.
Oh yes.
No, I
she
do.
has
Yes.
That magnesium stuff for your feet is legit.
Yeah.
So it's actually, I'm like, this has to be in my head. It is not. It is legit.
There's
Yes.
some super world class evangelist that like orders it, and he's like, I can't sleep without this stuff. So
Wow.
Melinda's magnesium feet stuff is went around the world on ministry trips.
You're literally, when it's
Pretty rad.
prophesied you were going to go around the world, it wasn't just when you were younger. It still is. You still are going around the world. Okay. So, also tell us about, you are, I don't even want to get this wrong, but you're a rodeo queen.
Oh,
To us, you are a rodeo queen. Tell us what that entails.
not a rodeo queen, but I do compete on my horse in cutting horse competitions. Yes.
And
Belt
And
buckles
I've
and
got-
championships
Yes.
and-
Belt buckles. Yes, I have.
her belt buckle right now, I don't know if you can see it. It's gorgeous. And we were like, is that one you won? She was like, oh, this whole thing. No, you didn't say that. But she's like, oh, this is the old one. You
So awesome.
You are amazing. And your daughter's 7, like watching you guys cut horses is
It's
wild.
And she's a champion also.
She is. She is. She went to
Championship.
nationals in the national high school rodeo, and yeah, she does really. It's really fun. It's fun. We do it as a family because he does it too, and he won.
Oh, you're doing it.
Well, I mean, I can. Like, this is what we did with mom and dad before they passed away. So when we worked on the ranch in
Mhm.
Ellensburg while we went to college, we were riding cutting horses all the time with my parents.
So your parents, your mom was a,
Mhm.
do you say cutter?
Mhm.
Is that what you
Yeah,
say?
yeah.
And your dad, was he as well, or what?
Mhm.
Okay.
My sister was
And
phenomenal.
your sister, I saw she's
Because when
getting
they
back on the
died,
horse.
They had a big old ranch. I mean, we moved on to the ranch and everything. And Melinda and Jenny started showing because we wanted to keep Jenny doing what, that was her high
Sure.
school sport. She didn't have
Yeah.
anything else. And then she got to a point where she just like, I don't want to do this. I used to do this with mom and dad. And so we ended up selling all the horses and
Oh, wow.
ranch and moved into a neighborhood.
I saw Jenny's post the other day. I just cry when I read your guys' post. I'm just so emotional, just at like what God has done, but like what you've been through. You guys are so honoring
Yeah.
to your family, to your mom and dad, and honoring to where you've come from. And she was posting, I think it was a picture of her cowboy boots. And she was like, and really to honor
Mhm.
what your parents instilled in you. And also Jenny, I will say this, she has one of the best pie shops in the world.
I think it is the best pie shop.
I think it is in the world.
Yeah.
It-
It's Snohomish Pie Company. Let's go.
And if we can, where's my camera? If we can get a Snohomish Pie Company in Yakima, I would run it. I'm not, okay, this
You're
is what I
going
would do.
on record. Okay.
I'm going on record. I don't know if I could bake them because that is, oh my gosh, they're the best pies.
They
They're
are.
like for your birthday, your 40th birthday. Was that 40th that we were all at, like during COVID?
No, that's 50.
Was that 50?
Yeah. I wish it
Whoa.
was 40.
Okay, for your 50. And we
Well,
had
I'm
the,
Gen X, so though I'm 55, I look like
true.
I'm 45.
yeah, no, it is true. We are the, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you guys look great.
Can't hurt our feelings.
No, we're tough as nails. Try and offend us.
Yeah.
Right? Literally. We literally did.
Literally,
We
there was
can't
literally
believe
an
until the
announcement
came out.
at 10 o'clock at night on the television that said, "It's 10 p.m., parents. Do you know where your children are?" That really was on
Did it
national
really?
television every night at 10 p.m. when we were growing up.
Well, you know what's wild? I was raised in Auburn. Like our backyard was the Green River during that time. But still, you're out playing until the streetlights come on.
Yeah.
No one's concerned about the Green River. You know what?
No, yeah.
We're out living our best lives, playing in the river.
Oh my god.
For real, legit, yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, good times.
It
Good
was.
times. Oh, I was going to say during your birthday party, your sister made pie scream. And now even our niece she was with us. And for her wedding, we couldn't get the pies brought in. We ran out of time. So we had to do fake pies. But we did pie scream in honor of Jenny's pie scream.
I love it.
And it was like,
So
people still talk
good.
about it. Yeah.
Well played.
But I'm just so proud of you guys. Like the fact, and I pray that this for anyone, we've been talking about, there's so many people in our lives that are just going through horrendous things, tragedies. And we all came out of the COVID season.
Right.
I mean, there was a lot of people, like a lot of stuff happened during that time, and you meet people at the altar, or you hear their stories at church, or just people in our lives. And the goal is, how do we not become victimized to those tragedies or what we're going through? And I feel like your story is such an amazing example. And what I hear you guys saying, though, is you were grounded in the word, you were grounded in prayer, you knew where you came from, you had vision in your heart, you were honoring, you had a grateful heart, even though what you went through was horrible, the worst thing you could go through in life, but you still came out of it with a grateful heart for all the things that God started, knowing what he started, he would finish. And I mean, I just pray that people see this, and wherever they're at in their lives, they just grab a hold of what you guys are.
Seven and I were in Washington, D.C. last week, and we were at the American History Museum.
Oh, cool.
And there's this segment on the top floor in the corner, and it's about like all the wars, from the Revolutionary War to the War of 1812 to the Civil War, World War I, War Korea, and all that. Well, you get to the Vietnam era and the display for the Vietnam War, and there's this big Huey helicopter, and there's this spot where there's like a POW cell, and I'm particular to the Vietnam era because that was my dad's generation. That was his war. And my mom was a donut dolly, and she flew to Japan. And
wait, what is that?
That's she worked in the Red Cross at Canina Air Force Base.
So the ones who worked in the Red Cross were called donut
dollies
because they would give out donuts when they would do blood.
Take care of all the wounded GIs that were getting flown out of Vietnam. And so while my dad was in the Air Force, and they were based in Okinawa, that's where I was conceived during the war. And anyway, so sorry about that. So there's this line there, and there's a television, and the line reads this: the Vietnam War was the first war that was broadcast live on television.
Wow.
And when I read that, it hit me, because the 60s and early 70s were a very divided time where people, just like today, were going through a lot of hardships, some self-induced, others, induced and inflicted from power beyond their control.
Mm-hmm.
And yet here we are today, and really in the last, 10 to 15 years, we're literally seeing the worst of humanity play out on devices that we carry around in our hand. And that's never been done before.
Right.
There's never been anything like that in the history of the world. Like, I asked a question a long time ago. I'm like, we know about every volcano that blows worldwide. Does that mean all the volcanoes just started blowing worldwide? Or is it just because we have access to it so often? The reason I'm saying that is that all of us are going to go through our measure of darkness. Ephesians 6 is clear that we fight against principalities, powers, rulers. We fight against the darkness. And yet sometimes I think if we don't properly synthesize what we expose our lives to, we take on the darkness that doesn't belong to us.
Right.
And when that's like driven at us like all the time, one of the things back in my school for this kind of language and theology comes from the crash of the plane. I've been through plenty of darkness since the crash of the plane. But my school of that brings me back to those basics of like, okay, what is the Lord saying about this? How am I praying? How am I processing? Who are the loudest voices? And I just think like now in the history of America and the history of our families, I'm not minimizing what people are going through, because people are going through difficult, horrendous, and challenging times. But sometimes our problems seem larger when we take on a world around us and the problems that they have. And I just exhort people like when the world gets so heavy that, life gets so heavy, you don't feel like you can carry it anymore. Man, you really got to find your grit. You got to find the Holy of Holies. You got to buckle down and just decide that we're going to lead through this. We're not going to, this is not the end of us. This is the
So
best
good.
of us. This is not a life sentence for misery. This is an opportunity for us to become everything that God's created us to be. I just think it's a perspective we all can journey with right now, especially in these times.
Yeah, I like to always say that we have made it through 100% of every difficult challenge, battle, struggle, frustration that we've ever gone through in our whole life.
So good.
We've made it through 100% of them.
Yeah.
And there are more victories ahead of us than there are battles behind us.
Wow, that's so good.
We're gonna make it.
Yes.
Walk through the valley of the
Yes.
shadow of death.
Yeah.
I'll fear no evil. Not because evil's not there, not because I can see the way ahead of me, not because the enemy's not around me, but because you are with me. Your rod and your staff, Holy Spirit, is with me. I am gonna walk through the shadow.
You know, it's scary
So good.
to go forward when things radically shift.
Right.
Because what happens is when we get into a place where maybe our trust hasn't developed yet, whether it's of the Lord or circumstances or our ability, or we don't have the confidence, we often feel like we get way out there and it gets literally gets really quiet out there. Like what we championed with, it's not as loud when we get way out in front of trusting like where God's going. So what happens sometimes is we start playing the tape of the past. And it's funny how the past, we don't remember it as it was. We remember it as it would be a comfort if we could go back there to where we are today.
So true.
And that's what I think we got to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
No matter how difficult it is. And I mean, that's a message for our churches, our lives, our nation,
Absolutely.
our people.
Yeah.
Or we to go back would be, there was bondage back there too.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that has an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend knows that, you know, it gets lonely after you break up. Sometimes you want to go back, but you know, we selectively remember what was. And the better choice is to trust God going forward, even when we can't see maybe where we're headed all the way.
So good. I feel like we said, for people who are just struggling right now, but where we're at in our nation, like these words, they're just wisdom words for us to hold on to just in this time. We have to be just so protective, even what we're putting in, like you said. And
I feel like something for breakthrough. I want to put it out there for all of your people. Genesis chapter 49, verse 10, it says, I placed a scepter in Judah's hand. And God put the scepter in Judah's hand to reign over the territory, to rule and to reign over the territory. And he didn't do it because Judah was perfect. He actually had selected some other tribes, but one of those tribes fell to violence. Others of them fell to scandal. And he said, Judah, I'm putting this scepter to rule over this territory into your hand. And I'm doing it not because you're perfect, but because you're capable. And, you know, from afar these last few years, as I've watched you build here in Yakima and Union Gap, and I've known the way that you've led, and I know that how you've proven yourself over the years, and your vision and your dream for your city, and, you know, Yakima Tent Revival coming up this year, and the memories of the last one, and the conferences, and just constantly just pushing forward and going forward. I really want you to weigh, the Lord has touched breakthrough in this hour in a special way, in a unique way, in a Genesis 49:10 way, in a way that he has ordained you to rule over this territory. And I felt like I wanted to pray real quick here and just release over you guys and your leaders and your church. Father, God, I ask you, Lord, for Breakthrough Church, God, to step into, God, Lord, just a season of rain And this isn't to reign over other churches, God, or to reign over other Christians, God. It is to reign over the territory.
Thank you,
Father.
Jesus.
Lord, as this platform, as these two, God, Lord, speak, Father God, Lord, their words go out into the territory, Father God. I thank you, Father God, that you release, Father God, Lord, blessing and grace,
Yes,
God,
Lord Jesus.
Lord, in the territory, Father. I pray over, specifically, I hear the word commerce over this valley, the Yakima Valley. And I thank you, Father God, Lord, that as Brian and Carrie begin, God, to declare, God, over business leaders and businessmen, Deuteronomy 8, verse 18, God, for you've given them, God, the business leaders of this valley, the power, God, to gain wealth in order to establish your covenant. And I thank you right now, Father God, Lord, that, Lord, over commerce, God, over business, God, Lord, breakthroughs, God, going to begin to extend the staff, Father God,
Yes, God.
over this territory, God, and blessing, God, is going to reign. Father, I thank you right now in Jesus' name,
Thank you,
God, that you are
Jesus.
ruling and reigning, God, over Yakima
Yes,
County, Lord.
God.
And I thank you, Father God, Lord, for more campuses, God,
Yes,
from Breakthrough Church, God.
Thank you,
I
Lord.
thank you, Father God, for more leaders, Father, and I just ask, God, that you bless our friends, Lord,
Yes,
in
Lord
Jesus' name.
Jesus. Thank you,
Amen.
Jesus. We receive that. Thank you. Wow, we receive that, man.
I feel like we're in a
So
season
good.
now where Deuteronomy 8:18,
Mhm.
the covenantal blessing of wealth
Yeah.
is what's going to be released. It's the only thing that's going to sustain us in times where, you know, the instability of inflation and the dollar and the crypto and the this and the that. And in any times like that, God is going to confirm his covenant. And so
Wow.
I just see like I just see the territory benefiting from your confession, from your rule, from God's grace that's on your life
Wow.
and on this house.
We receive that, man.
Yeah.
You've just over and over, you've spoken words that we have held on to and have been life-giving. They've come to pass. Our team, we brought you in several times, and our team continually ask, like, please bring Pastor Jeff in. And we're like, Pastor Jeff is actually really busy. But they love you and they glean from you. They hold on to your words.
Well, your team's doing awesome because I snuck down here the last Sunday of 2025 with Seven and Kamari, and we came to church. And I tried to sneak in the back. I even got here during the first song when all the lights were low.
Yeah.
And Jack caught me at the back. I mean, he saw
Yeah.
me from afar. But your team's killing it.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. You have a great church. You've done incredible things, and the future's really bright.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Thank you for just being willing to open up, share your hearts,
Yeah, man.
talk about your passions and all that. It's been really, really good.
I want to say this also. This came to my mind years ago. So again, I go back to 7 being 3. In my mind, so much happened, I feel like, during that time. You, Melinda, started a feeding program for the kids who their families had been deported. So this was back in the 90s. I don't remember which administration this was, but it's been a while. It's been a while ago, right? It's like late 90s, early 2000s, maybe. Well,
we were in.
That's
Seven was
crazy.
born
You
what
just
year?
reminded me. I actually forgot about that you were feeding those
Well,
children.
my mom remembered this. She said,
Oh my
Carrie,
gosh, I had forgotten about that.
she said, do you remember when you guys went to Ellensburg and Pastor Melinda started a ministry?
They used to come and volunteer and help me so much.
We would like cook these meals for all these kids. Their
Such a
families were
relevant
deported.
story to tell right now.
It is so relevant because, and these kids were all in this like trailer. They were in these trailers.
Yeah, we went to several neighborhoods. They bring groceries,
Mhm.
brought hot meals for the
Mhm.
day, and then groceries, and then bedding and clothes and stuff like that. Yeah, and we come once a week.
What year was 7 born?
Oh wait,
08? Oh, okay. So she was 3. Okay. So 2011 maybe. But you started, there's so many things, you guys. I know like life goes by so quickly and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. But go back and remember, because you sowed so much. You're reaping. You're in a season, not just you reaping, but like so many people are reaping from that. Those children, we don't know where those children are now. There's so many kids who their lives were ripped apart, and you are giving them hope, and you are pouring. So that is also being poured into those kids. You've poured into so many people, you guys. I mean, we're two people out of thousands and thousands of people who've been recipients of what you've poured into. And so I was just thinking about that, and I was like, man, that was so amazing that you
Thank you.
you
for
did
I
that.
actually
Yeah.
forgot about that. I forgot about that.
I used to have to drive
Yeah.
to a couple hours
Mhm.
every week to go get the food and drive it back. I learned how to pull a trailer. Well, it's
Yes.
I pulled the horse trailer because I
You pulled the trailer. I
up
remember
there, yeah.
you would pull up and then we
still
would
have that
start.
trailer.
Do you really?
still
It
have
was
that
packed
tiny
full
trailer.
of food. And I remember they would give you food from the food bank in Monroe, I think, or somewhere.
yeah, we just
Like
we
all
would
over.
ride around.
We
yeah.
have another nonprofit called Provide Hope. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, and so there's two freezer trucks that travel up and down kind of the I-5 405 corridor. Multiple
Wow.
But
groceries.
back then it was just
Yeah, it was
trailer.
The
just started.
one.
And so now,
Now, what is it called? Provide Hope.
Because we feed thousands of people in Snohomish County.
So you just go up and down and hit.
All
Wow.
foods, Safeways, Albertsons,
That's amazing.
Trader Joe's, and they load the truck every single week,
Wow.
and then that food gets sorted. So some of the stuff that's maybe not expired or whatever gets thrown, and then that it gets distributed on Friday nights, and it's pretty awesome.
That's
And
amazing.
we intentionally left when we moved out of Monroe. We intentionally left that ministry in Monroe because it was blessing so many families in Monroe.
That's
Still-
incredible.
We still run in our volunteers.
Yeah, all of our volunteers run it all.
That's
You
amazing.
guys.
Yeah, it takes about 50 volunteers to make it happen. It's going really good.
I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, you might not, that's real ministry. Sometimes, people think it's just what's online and like you said, it's the likes and the clout. That's not what it's
Still trying to figure
about.
out how to do online.
It's
So
like,
busy doing the other stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
but listen, you're driven by eternity.
Yeah,
And that's what your parents instilled that in you. And you're carrying that. You're driven by eternity. It doesn't matter. The likes and the applause, we know that, but truly you're living that. That
Yeah.
what matters is what you're sowing into the kingdom.
Exactly.
That's what's being taken note of. And now listen, I've been watching, we have been watching what's going on in the Rock Church, and we're tuning in on the messages. They're good. It's a great season for the Rock Church. Tell us about your campuses, where they're at, where people can find you guys. And it's exciting. Get online and we're going to put your handles up where we can see your social media, and it's good stuff.
That's all.
Sweet. Yeah, no brag. Yeah. So right now, our Snohomish County campus is meeting at Angel of the Winds
Awesome.
Arena in Everett on Sunday mornings, and then Sunday night is in Cleon.
So Sunday
I love
morning,
it.
what time?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yeah. And our online, we live stream from Cleellum from our 5 o'clock service. So that goes onto our YouTube channel.
I love that.
Every
Yeah.
Sunday night
Mhm.
in Cleellum. It's amazing what's happening there too. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
cool.
special.
Mhm.
It's really, really powerful.
Yeah,
It's a
I love
great-
it.
It's a great season at the Rock Church. We've had many, many great seasons.
Yeah.
And, that's a conversation for another time. But
Mhm.
navigating the ebbs and flows, the high tides and low
Mhm.
tides of ministry, I want to tell any pastor that would even remotely listen this far to this podcast that, man, you're going to go through seasons where
Mhm.
every boat is floating, and you're going to go through seasons where there's some boats that are sitting on the beach. It's just the highs and the lows of the local church and life. And man, just keep doing what you are called to do, because
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
true.
this season right now in the Rock Church,
It's beautiful.
I told Melinda a couple weeks ago, I called her as we were going from Everett over to Cleellum, because we kind of commute a lot. I told her, I said, I'm as excited today about what's happening in the Rock Church as I was when we were in our little tiny building just a
Mhm.
year after Mom and Dad had passed, and
Yeah.
the church was growing, and there was so much life and hope and grace, and
Yeah.
that's the time we're living in right now. And
Yeah, you can feel it.
to do that after 26 years, that makes me more excited than anything I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can
Yeah.
renew your hope in what God's going to do
Mm-hmm.
after decades of all of it,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we need, baby.
Come on.
Yes.
That's quote that. That's winning, baby. Okay, we're excited for your books to come out. So
He-
be
He is
looking.
an author and has written one,
Mhm.
Rev Life.
No, you've
The
written,
Rev Life is out. It's out of print, but you can buy it on Kindle.
which we have that one
You
in
probably
our,
have
we do have that one. But also,
I'm sure it's on your nightstand.
no, it is. We read it every night.
Right.
Princess it all the
We
time.
we do.
That-
It gets rubbed up. So, also your book, and I'll just put this out there, but I know God has given you an amazing book on grief. And that's not even out. But I know someone in our congregation who also is part of your congregation. They read that and walked through grief and said it changed their lives. And they just got through breakfast and then got through lunch. It changed her life.
Yeah.
And so I just keep saying, where's the book? And you have
Yeah,
another one also.
I gave her the manuscript before it was even edited, just to help her through what she was walking through, and
Yeah,
she
so
was an
great.
incredible blessing. Gave me a lot of
Yeah.
feedback. So, yeah, that book is I gotta get on it.
You got to get on that.
It's been done.
We're just gonna-
It's
This
been
is your
done.
baby.
We just
We're-
need
It's been
wisdom.
done for 2 years.
Yeah.
I need
Wisdom.
some wisdom.
Yeah. And then I think you wrote another one recently, or
I
you're
did. I
you're
it
wrote and writing.
recently, and I got to figure out from Brian like how to fast track these things to publishing, because he's got it down. So you got to share your secrets.
Amazing.
I know with all of us.
It's awesome. They're awesome.
So yeah, you want to glean as much as you can from these guys. And Melinda,
Mhm.
Pastor Melinda, you're gonna have an album out, or you did put one out recently.
No.
Wait, I thought you.
No, she's got a
No.
Spotify though, and
Okay.
Eleanor is her prayers and worship CD
Oh, okay, that's what it
that
was.
you can play when you're praying in the morning, and that is
Mhm.
phenomenal.
I'm working on a YouTube, just to have piano music just in your home, or
Amazing.
prayer, or
Mhm.
sleeping, or so.
That would be amazing.
Just doing what's in front of me to do.
Yeah.
So
Come on.
yeah.
Come on, keep doing it and keep taming those bees or getting the honey, whatever you're doing, the beef, all of it, milking the bees.
The bees.
Mil-
Milking the
They
bees.
make me so nervous.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys inspire us all. And as you keep doing things and growing, and God's just expanding you, and you're just amazing entrepreneurs for the kingdom, like keep
Let's go.
feeding us. And so we love you guys.
We'll bring you steak.
Bless you
Come
guys.
on.
Hey, we hope you have enjoyed tonight. We have. This has been rich. It's been really,
Yeah.
really good. And I know that this is going to be far reaching and deeply touching the hearts of people. And so, hey, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Pray you were blessed. Like it, share it with someone.
subscribe.
Subscribe. Help us get this word out, because it is springing hope where people need it. And that's what we're all about. So we love you guys. Thank you again for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Pastors Jeff and Melinda. We love you guys so
Love
much.
you guys so
God
much.
bless you
Thanks for the
guys.
opportunity.
Love you.
Love you guys.
So
Now let's
much,
go have
guys.
some fun, right?
Yes.
Do
Go
something.
share a steak.
Dare
Oh,
Share
yeah.
a steak.
Come on. Very clean it is.
Woo.